All right, all right, all right. We got the blue goatee, the man, the myth, the legend, Ricky Manor. What's going on, bro?
I'm chilling over here in Charleston, South Carolina. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing well.
Doing great.
Cat, Ant, how are y'all doing? Yeah.
Doing great. Ready.
Ready? What are you ready for, Ant?
I'm ready to have a conversation with Ricky because this is my first time that I've been able to be on.
So, Ricky, I know you and I have had
stuff.
Yeah, Ricky and I have had a lot of side conversations about. He's shed some light on specifically Black conservatives because I think that's kind of your forte of exposing them in a roundabout way, which gets you banned a lot on TikTok, and you've even got a YouTube ban, don't you?
Yeah, I had a YouTube ban for a while. They had banned me for 2 weeks because the night when I ran Bryson over to Brandon's channel, they mass reported my YouTube account saying that it was hate speech on there. And I'm like, okay, that was kind of awkward this happened this way. But yeah, I was giving them that work on TikTok. So he had to go run the YouTube with Brandon. And then they sat around and talked about me for a little bit in a roundabout way. Brandon's scared of me. And he should be. When I met him last summer at Blackset, he was, all, up in arms about wanting to work with me. And then I just pretty much called him out and told him what I thought about him in front of everyone, because he was like, yeah, man, we want to put you guys on a bus and get you to come to Atlanta. I'm like, put me on a bus to come to Atlanta. He was wanting me to go and round up people in the Black community to take them to Atlanta so they could look good at Blackset and say, look, all these Black people in Atlanta turned out. But he couldn't get me to go along with it. And I pretty much texted him a video that I made about him like a week before I started working on Bryson. And he said that he was going to kick my butt. He didn't say my name, but he was like, yeah, whoever that is sending those messages to my phone, when I see you, it's on. I'm like, okay, cool. That's not the first time he made threats to anybody online, though, but he's a bitch. He talks tough online, but every time you see him like at CPAC or you see him at Blackset, he always have his security detail around him.
Yeah. Well, I know that like some of your content is on really trying to reach the conservative message to the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go about doing that with some of these fake conservatives that are out there?
Well, it's hard because it's like it is hard for me because me being pro man rights, pro male rights, pro father rights, in the Black community is not a popular thing. It's a lot of feminism that plagues our community. And when you get in there and start talking about, the man has a place in the home, those women ain't hearing that. They shut you down quick. I think that a lot of the problems that we endure in the Black community is a cause of what happened with this feminism movement, which is what I would call a recharger of the bedwench syndrome from the slave plantation days.
Now, so this is new to me. I've never heard that. So the feminist movement is big in Black communities because why? Because of
the world poverty in 1964. Like when Malcolm X gave a speech, and it was accurate in 1963, but in 1964 that speech lost place, and a lot of the Black feminists used this. They'll say some shit like, we need to protect Black women. However, in 1964 when that war on poverty came, that's when they started giving out all these different government programs. Well, in order to be eligible for these programs, you couldn't have a man in the house.
Got it.
So
really, it's still kind of currently like that. You're going to get more assistance they want that core nuclear family completely destroyed.
Correct.
Well, that's spelled out very clear within the Black Lives Matter website.
Yeah, it's very clearly. It's specific. We want to disrupt the nuclear family. And the thing is, I believe a lot of these women know what the hell they're doing. And they don't care because they're getting something out of it. I mean, they sell their men out. These are conversations that I'll have even within the Black community. What if you guys been watching some of my content lately? I was clowning on a very popular Black female on YouTube.
I saw that.
Yeah, and they came for me. But see, here's the thing: I don't care. I want them to. I like to get in their shit to let them know, hey, I see you. And the people that come at me with their ad hominem attacks because that's all they have. they have no logic. But when they know that I see them, I want them to know, hey, I see you, and I'm going to keep calling you out every time. But the thing is, they talk trash. I mean, how low can you get to have a white supremacist, as a black woman, have a white supremacist to come on and talk trash about the men of your race, especially when just 3 years ago you were on this pro-black, I love my black man stuff, and then all of a sudden now it's cool to have a white supremacist to come on and talk trash about the men of the race. Oh, the Negro Net on YouTube blew up over that one. And it was mainly women that was like cheering her on, and the man was like, "Yo, what the fuck? That's off code." You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, that only thing this had done, I believe, this was just a step in the recharger of the Bedouin syndrome. See, people talk about the slave days, but the only thing they know is what Hollywood tells them, like by movies like Roots and what Halton Mifflin tell them in those history books. But that's not telling the truth. Everybody had a role on the slave plantation, including the black woman. On the plantation, if you was a father, it doesn't mean that you was a husband. Right. You see what I'm saying? If you got married, you didn't get married for purposes of I love this woman loves me. You were a breeder. Yeah. That was it. And the woman's job was to bear children, not to rear them, but for the husband to train the boys how to go out there and do the hard work, and for the ladies to know how to do stuff around, the house and things of that nature. She had power over the black man. She didn't look at the black man as her protector. She looked at the master as the protector. So when the slaves were first freed, people are not, they say, from the social issue outside looking in, like, yeah, it's a good thing. But what kind of psychological damage did this do? How are they going to go function in society when their roles for the past 100 plus years was just to rear children, not to be fathers, not to be mothers, not to be husbands, not to be wives, but to be the bed wench who just, pumped out kids. Now, in 1964, now this is where one thing that was good about segregation. There were several good aspects about it, but the main one is that by living around each other, they had to learn how to be a family again. So now here comes the nuclear family, and it's becoming powerful. The community is starting to unite. They're breaking away from this old bullshit on the plantation. They had to recharge that, okay? So what did they do? We got to get a war on poverty. Well, hold on. If we're doing right in our communities, and we got businesses, and we got, doctors, we got brick masons, we have trades, and we're functioning as a community. How are we going to interrupt this? Okay, let's go back to this black woman who was just 2 generations out of slavery, and tell her, look, we got something for you here. You don't need your man anymore. Only thing you got to do is rear kids.
Now, Ricky, just because I know you'll be one of the few that can answer this honestly, can white people reach the black community in 2021?
Can they reach the black community? That's a slippery slope. I'm gonna say yes, but it's it's very slippery there, because look at Trump. He rolled out a platinum package that was the closest thing to reparations that these pro-blacks talk about, and yet they, when the debate came up, nothing of that platinum package came up. They were telling Trump, "Oh, you are a racist. You are a racist." And I'm like, but he was just that last Sunday talking about rolling out the platinum plan. He was going to do it, and they just put that in the wind. Now, the funny part is, the reason that I don't think that whites could reach the black community now is because the damage is done. We got too many of these feminist black women that will outground any message that a black man has to say. You see what I'm saying? They say that black men need to lead the community, but they don't want us to lead the community. So I think it's possible to reach black men. I think it's possible to reach some black women, because you got to think there's a 71% or 70 to 71% black single head of household. So I think there's 70% that you're not going to be able to reach, because they're getting too much out of the party that they're in. So they're not going to try anything.
Is that high?
Yeah, it's that high.
70%.
Say what?
70%.
70%. It's unreal,
Now, do you think any of these white liberals that are standing on the corner with their Black Lives Matter signs, do you think they have any idea about what's going on in black communities or the statistics?
Yes, they do. They do.
You think so?
Yeah, they do. They have to.
Ooh, you're braver than me. I would have said no.
No, I think they do because think about it. They're very intelligent. They're very manipulative. The white liberals are very intelligent. They know how to hold a conversation. Some of them know how to hold a conversation, or they know how to give you a bunch of babble, right? So I think that they know what's going on because they say that they're socialist. Well, what other way to? I mean, if you think about it, like
I
this,
see where you're going here.
Yeah, if they're socialist and the skinheads are socialist and they want the same agenda and they look at black people as their mules, then you know the white liberal will tell you you're black, you can't make it in this world because you have something against you. The straight up Aryan nation socialist, white national socialist will tell you you're black, you're not built to make it in this world, but he's not going to tell you he has your back. The white liberal tells you he has your back and don't do shit for you, but both of them want the same damn thing. So
very much of what Malcolm X said too.
Yes, very all the way live with him because I mean,
all of it.
Yeah, every single ounce of it. The thing is, the white liberal, they know how to play the game. They know how to get things done fast that gives you instant gratification, such as the welfare, such as the housing, and such as all of this other stuff. But they don't look at the long-term aspect of how much damage it's doing. It scares me. Go ahead.
Ricky, if I know you don't like Candace Owens or Brandon Tatum, but are they effective in reaching and changing the minds of the black community to conservatism, though?
Oh, hell no.
No. Okay.
Oh, hell no. The reason why is because whenever there's like a police shooting, right? Or, you know, like not even a police shooting, anytime there's a controversial topic that come up that, you know, sparks emotions, they will come in and defend the white person before even addressing why are black people so upset. And they do a lot of gaslighting in that aspect, you know, like when Brandon Tatum released that video talking about the Tulsa race riots wasn't all that serious. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Or, you know, the way he said it, he kind of downplayed it, and it pissed off a lot of black conservatives, including one of my favorite black conservatives to watch on YouTube, a guy by the name of Maj Toure, Black Guns Matter. And I was sitting there listening to his talking points on this, and I'm like, you know what? I never thought about it that way. I knew something was fucked up about that delivery, but Maj Toure tried to debate Brandon Tatum. I tried to debate Brandon Tatum. He won't return the calls because he's used to his echo chamber. He even often admitted that most of his audience is white. Okay, so. To me, I think what he's doing is confirming biases on black people. Now, if I was to confirm any biases, I'm gonna come straight out and tell you, there's a certain class of black people that black people don't even like. Don't paint those people as the entire race. These people are the ones who, you know, they're the ones who are loud, they're vocal, they're obnoxious, they're the ones who spew all this racial bullshit online. They are the reason that TikTok is not fun anymore.
Well, who's elevating that voice though? Is it white liberals? I go back to the white liberal because I feel like they're almost antagonistic.
Oh yeah.
You know, and they're, you know, that white guilt and them apologizing for one's oppression when they have no idea what's going on in that person's life or what success they've had. So I feel like that's the voice that's just lifting those negative voices that you're talking about. Am I wrong?
Let me see if I can show a picture here real quick. But there's I can't do it on here. But there's a picture that I had earlier today on one of my broadcasts talking about the cockroaches of the internet. And the thing is, if on a social political
Not you, man.
the social political aspect, if you were a politician, you would know a demographic of people and how they operate just by their basic psychology. We already know that the only thing that the liberals got to do or the Democrats got to do come election season is just pretty much go into the black community and say we love you and serve them fried chicken and sing on the choir at their church, and you'll have all these black people walking around with their, you know, Biden Harris regalia on and talking about how things are going to change in America. And then, you know, they talk. I mean, it's almost like they're hypnotized. They'll say, well, Trump's a racist. How is Trump a racist? Well, you know, because he's a racist. Okay, but how is he a racist? well, Trump's a racist. Okay, but how is he racist? Well, it's just the way he talks online. What did he say online specifically? Did he ever use the N-bomb? Well, no, but okay.
They always bring up that lawsuit from his dad that he was included in back in the 70s. Is all they ever bring up.
That's their favorite.
That and go to was the Central Park 5.
Yes, and that's the second one, yeah. Those are the main two.
Yeah.
But forget that he's housed black female Jennifer Hudson for years when she was in trouble and homeless. Forget the fact that, he's gotten NAACP awards.
Yep.
Forget the fact that he had record black unemployment numbers. Forget the fact that, blacks succeeded way more underneath him as president than in any president in American history.
But why was Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson hanging out with him years before?
Exactly.
They would have done anything. They were,
Black rappers were singing about being about him.
Yeah.
Right.
And Trump would show up at the freaking the Source Music Awards. He showed up at these different rap music awards.
The BET Awards, yeah.
Yeah, he was always there.
He dated a black model for a while. I don't know about you, but a racist doesn't really date outside of the color palette.
But what people will say is it's so that he can hide being racist.
Yes.
Like, you've obviously never met a real racist.
A true racist.
Never. They've never met a. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I've met some before. Some come and troll my website. They leave nasty messages in there, and it is unreal. Those are the true racists. A true racist will tell you, look, this is the way I am.
Yeah.
This is how I feel, and they'll use the slurs and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think what happened was the media played a lot of roles in this, because you got to think during COVID, nobody ever thinks right when they're in an emotional state, right? So if you remember correctly, I don't know about where you guys live. Y'all are in Texas. I'm in South Carolina. In South Carolina, AT&T would not cut your cell phone off. T-Mobile wouldn't cut your cell phone off. Verizon would not shut your cell phone off. They made sure you had cell service. They was like, we understand that some of you are not working, so we want to make sure that we do right by you, right?
Yeah.
The cable company, the same way. I'm getting fucking letters from my cable company telling me, hey, we understand that it's a pandemic going on, and if you want to skip out paying your bills the next 3 months, you can. But I didn't do it. But of course, it was always nice to know you had the option.
Yeah.
So they made sure that when they locked you in your house, that you were still getting their information they wanted you to get. You wasn't going to miss the news. You wasn't going to miss the bullshit that was going on social media. I still have friends of mine, and it hurts me, man. I'm not going to sit here and play all hardcore. I had a friend of mine that I had since I was in the 7th grade. Our friendship departed last summer over all of this. Since the 7th grade.
That was only like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, right. 1991, 2021.
Same
now,
thing.
2020.
10, 20. I'm just counting.
Who's counting?
Right. It's like what we fell out over was because I said something along the lines of because there were people actually being racist when this whole thing would happen with George Floyd. They were saying some stupid shit like, he was a criminal, this, that, and the third. I was like, yeah, but the man deserved his day in court. They was like, well, fuck him, he's a criminal, and they'd show these clips of Candace Owens online. I'm like, this is bullshit here. And then they would talk about how it was right for the Ahmaud Arbery thing to go on. I'm like, what do you mean? Okay, let's say if Ahmaud Arbery was up to no good. It wasn't up to those McMichaels to go and chase him down.
Exactly.
Gun him down in the street. There's white people who said this. Ben Shapiro even said this.
Yes.
And it's like,
and then the racial slurs over his dead body.
Yeah. And they were still, talking about, well, if he wasn't in the house, this would have never happened. And I'm like, that's the way you feel about me? And then the friend of mine that I had since I was in the 7th grade, he was his wife got on and said something to me, started like yelling at me and, just like berating me in the comment section. And I only took so much of it before I snapped back. She goes, I'm a nurse. I have a real job, blah, blah, blah. You're just some insurance adjuster. I got a real job. And, good luck doing what you do. We should just feel so sorry for you because you're black. She was like going off. Well, I was like, well, being that you're a nurse and I'm just this old claims adjuster, why don't we play this game called Big Bank, Little Bank? We'll compare each other's bank accounts. The largest bank account wins. I said, I can guarantee you without even looking at yours that mine quadruples yours right now. How you want to do this? Her husband, which was my friend, jumps in. And he started talking about, well, I can't believe this. This has happened to you. You turned into a racist. You hate white people, blah, blah, blah. How in the fuck am I hate white people? I'm married into a white family. Like, really?
Well, but on the flip side of that, we get that on the white side, that even if our best friend or even our spouse is black, that doesn't mean that we're not racist.
Oh, shit.
I mean, we get that all the time.
It makes you more racist.
It almost feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, what is it they say when you are what is the word I'm looking for? They say, like they tried to say with Donald Trump. I was like, listen, Donald Trump is rolling out the platinum plan. Oh, he's just doing that to try to appease black people. But he's doing it. I mean,
I was just gonna say.
if he's doing it just to appease black people, or if he's really doing it. He's not saying he's going to do it, and he's not going to do it. He's kept his promises for the past 4 years. Some of the most beautiful things that I've seen, and one of the most beautiful things that I saw when, in the summer of 2019, when you started seeing Trump's policies actually take effect. I used to deliver snack chips, right? And that's what I was doing to save up money to do what I'm doing now. So I'm in the hood, I'm talking about in the center of the hood. These two boys were sitting there talking over their donks, those fancy cars, with the big rims and all that. And one dude was like, yeah, I got to sell this thing. I just bought a house. I need a pickup truck. Me and my baby mama got back together. We're getting married. I'm like, what? And these were conversations that I was hearing. And because I used to deliver in the hood. They always wanted me to deliver in the hood. A big 6'7" black guy, everybody's gonna mess with him. Let him deliver in the hood. But these were conversations that I was hearing. People talking about how they got together with the mother of their kids, and they're making more money. Dudes are talking about how they're working all of this overtime. I mean, it was music to my ears. I'm like, wait a minute, we wouldn't have heard this conversation during Obama's presidency.
No.
And you're not going to hear it now for sure.
Oh,
right. And they still ain't praising Trump for what he was doing. I mean, these jobs were back in America. He was holding.
Is it just ignorant? Is it just ignorance? Like just a refusal to see what he did just because they're so indoctrinated, or what's, because to me, like I'm a proof in the pudding kind of guy. So if I see the proof and I see facts, I'll change my beliefs. But if not, like I'm not going to change them. So you would think that they're seeing all of what like the black community did during the Trump administration. That I mean, it did show because he got record number of votes for a Republican president.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amongst the black community. So the votes were there, but not enough, obviously.
When you're dealing with media, you're dealing with hypnosis.
Okay.
When you're dealing with media, you're dealing with hypnosis. So basically what I mean by that is there's a reason why they show things in the pattern that they show it to you. They tried to make Biden out to be the savior, the knight in shining armor, and really he's just an incompetent old man. So basically what they do is that they get these people to play the role as to be the voice of the black community. These people that you hear being the voice of the black community aren't really the voices of the black community. I'm sorry, we're not a monolith. We have different classes in our community, but they always go to the lowest of our community to say, hey, this is the black community. This is the voice of the black community. And it's not. I mean, we all those weed wearing wicked witches and Johnny Bastard seeds you seen up there praising Kamswala and Biden once they got Jim Crow Joe once they got in the office. That wasn't the voice of the black community. I'm sorry.
And about lost it.
I called her a lot of things, but that one's a new one for me.
Yeah, that's a new one.
That
was a new one.
She's got to be probably the most racist person in the White House right now, aside from Joe Biden.
Well, the two of them have to be the most racist people. I mean, just look at Joe Biden's 47-year political history. It's nothing but racism. She hasn't even been in office as long, but she's got a very racist history.
Well,
yeah.
I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
No, and it's just by the simple things that Joe Biden says. I mean, of course, we could go back to the "if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black" thing. But like just yesterday on his very sad town hall. What's that?
I said just that little one. Like I don't.
Yeah.
That one's big, but we've heard it over.
Feel out of that to me.
Well, it's like, people are like, oh, come up with something new. Like liberals will be like, come up with something new. He didn't mean it like that. Okay, got a new one for you. It just happened yesterday. Now he's talking to Don Lemon about if you go into the city, you're gonna know that they're like a bunch of basketball players that, like, because we're down.
He did not say that.
I'm like cringing when I'm hearing this. I'm like, hello.
You said that for real?
Yeah.
Go watch it.
It's like having like an old racist grandpa that like you're taking out in public constantly. That's how America feels.
Right, and you're like, Grandpa, you can't say that shit no more.
Right.
So Ricky, I guess the question is why does somebody like him get away with that? Because if Donald Trump said half of these quotes, he would have been lynched.
He don't get away with it. When people like me speak out on it, we're online. We don't have access to major media. This is why my producer went in and made me a website. She saw when I had that big ass following on TikTok and how everything got shut down. She told me, she says, well, let me forward you a path so that way you can still speak your mind. Because the thing is, Black America, well, especially Black men in America, we're not down with that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
But we don't get a voice. Like on TikTok, they'll shut me down just because I disagree with the narrative. TikTok is a place full of misinformation agents. People think that I'm lying when I say this, but I'm like, no, this is no myth. This is no hypothesis. This is stone cold fact. That girl that's on TikTok that got popular for talking about, dear white people, we need to start raising hell. She had 40,000 followers her first night.
Wow. Not
that many people could have followed her and seen that. The second day she was at 100,000 followers, and then you had that fucking Cochise over there talking about
the warrior.
Yeah, talking about what is his name? Talking Modern Warrior.
Modern Warrior. Yeah,
I always call him Tonto, but Tonto was.
I call him Pocahontas. I thought he was a woman for the longest time.
and just to clarify, Zach, Tom Brady was not making fun of Joe Biden. Tom Brady was making fun of Donald Trump.
But when you look at the thing is with it's not Black America that's that blind. It's that class of Black America that's that blind, that easily led crowd that I despise. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there's a reason that we move out of the hood whenever we get money, because we don't want to be around that tight. You see what I'm saying? But they're the ones that they use.
Well, that's like the Black Lives Matter founders. They got money and they went to a white neighborhood.
Exactly, and they still not even putting that on blast. You would expect. Why is it only a few of us that's even being heard to put that on blast? We would put, not even just Black conservatives, just like your pro-Blacks and all that other stuff too. They've been putting this shit on blast, but you don't see that on CNN. You don't see that on MSNBC. You know what I'm saying? There's a guy by the name of Jason Black, he has a news network on YouTube called The Black Authority. He's been putting people on game about Joe Biden. You see what I'm saying? Now, the reason that I disagree with him is because he plays that white supremacy card to keep his audience retained. I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I can't be entertaining enough with just presenting the facts, then I don't want to be the one to sit up there and start blaming everything on white supremacy. White supremacy. No. But, I mean, he was telling us some facts, and everybody, he's not the only one. It's been several people. Fly Nubian Queen on YouTube. She was, it's a panel full of Black women. They all use the same account to broadcast each day. But, they talk about Joe Biden and the negative shit. So it's like, well, wait a minute. Why are these people getting voices on the mainstream? But
that's a good point.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're not even Republican nor Democrat. They're just straight pro-Black. So I'm like, why are these people not getting their voices heard? Why is it that we got to be the silent majority? And it's like these Johnny Bastard seats and these wicked witches are the ones that they get the talk for the Black community. And I'm like, no, we're not sitting up here screaming we're poor. We're not sitting here screaming we're oppressed. Bring Trump back so we don't become poor and oppressed.
Right.
I mean, they're poor and oppressed, but bring Trump back so we're not all in that same box.
Well, and here's what to me is a shame is that the true white supremacists or the true racists are now washed out because everybody's racist.
Yeah, I've been saying that.
The real racists we can't pick out because now anything that you say that's opposing, you're racist or you're white supremacist. So
and
it's completely.
And there are some white supremacist groups that they put on the MAGA gear, and they go and they start marching in these places because they want to continue to make that divide. White supremacists don't like Trump. They don't like Trump supporters.
Right.
White supremacists, they're socialists. So I believe that, and people can take this how they want to. I think Candace Owens is paid by white supremacists. I think that Brandon Tatum is paid by white supremacists. And I think that Dennis Prager is the white supremacist that pays them.
Ooh.
He said what he said.
I'm not mad at him, though.
Dennis Prager
I told you, Ant.
I think I love him even more now. It's just so mind-blowing to me because so I came from an Italian upbringing. I'm 100% Italian. My school was ran by all Italians and all black. Like, we partnered together to just rule the entire school. And it was like, in that time, none of this shit was ever even a thing. Like, none of us looked at, like, we never looked at someone and were like, oh, that's a black guy, or oh, that's a white guy, he must be a white supremacist. It's like, it is so polarized right now in this time, and I feel like it's made us jump back 100 fucking years. And it's really, really sad.
We're headed back towards segregation. It all
depends on like where you're at in the country, though, because when you go into the real world, outside of media, outside of social media, I mean, like I just look. The only reason why I can say it, so I grew up in like the hood in Dallas, where I was a minority as a white person, and then being where I'm at in rural East Texas, my kids are still the minority because it is predominantly black. And so my son was the only white kid on his baseball team.
What?
I wore all my MAGA stuff, my Trump, all throughout all
and
of
they
that.
loved it. They probably loved it.
They love it, but they never said anything. We embraced each other. We gave high fives whenever it came time. We understood whether we agreed or disagreed on politics. We understood that we were there for one purpose, and that was our kids' games.
Yeah.
That's where real world really started taking into effect. Like, that's when I started realizing, like, okay, this shit is really just on social media and on the media.
It is.
I guarantee they probably went to their social media, maybe said some stuff, but in real life, like, we were hugging each other. You would have never known that there was a race issue in America.
Well,
they want to hyperinflate it.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm in Southwest Florida. The demographic is Cuban, black, but I'm talking about like Haitian or Caribbean or South African or like actual African American or black, not Americans, down in South Florida. So the culture is really diverse, and none of them even like, they'll see like the Lions Not Sheep or the Trump stuff, and they're like, yes, I love it, because they understand what it's like coming from a country where they really legitimately, their government oppressed them. Like, they really had shit. And then
which is why they're not here as a refugee.
Yeah. And then they came here and they're like, dude, I'm not oppressed at all. Like, I'm blessed that I was like, they got a loan on a house. They have a nice 3-bedroom fort. Like, that's luxury for any American nowadays, but like, especially for a Cuban refugee or somebody from South Africa or someone from Poland even to come here and be like, dude, we're not oppressed. Like, we were oppressed in our country before.
Right. And that's the thing too. Like these Johnny Bastard seats and these weed-wearing wicked witches, they'll sit back and scream all this racial oppression shit while we live in a nation that rewards them for their mistakes. They get, they're oppressed, but they get to eat hot Cheetos on the first of the month. Well, they're so oppressed, but they live in an air-conditioned apartment sponsored by the taxpayer. They're so oppressed, but, if they have a baby out of wedlock, an illegitimate child, I mean, let me tell you what happened in the black community. And it is very important that we go over this, because in the 60s, if, let's say I had a daughter, right, and she got pregnant illegitimately, She wasn't married, and I didn't want her to marry the son of a bitch who knocked her up because he comes from the wrong side of the tracks. You know, I would send my daughter to live with relatives out of state with the baby. And the reason why is so it don't put a burden on the family name. You see what I'm saying? Nowadays, it's the fucking normal thing to do to have a child outside of wedlock. It's more common than it is uncommon. Now, when they came up with that war on poverty, you got to think women outnumber us men, including in our own race. So now when you have these women having these babies out of wedlock, these illegitimate pregnancies, it's a common thing. So it's not condemned. And then when you try to say something about it, then you get yelled at. They talk $500 worth of shit to you. And it's like, so you can't win for losing. And when you're talking about reaching out to the Black community, the reason that I think it's difficult now is because that part of the Black community that is in the most trouble are the ones that, you know, they won't hear what anybody has to say anyway. As long as they're getting their food stamps on the first of the month, and as long as they're able to fucking run the father of their children through the ringer in these court systems, and you see it become more obvious. You know, black men. I try to warn these black men about these white liberals. They'll pretend like they're your friend until that black woman sick those white boys on you.
Yeah.
And then there's another story. Then, you know, they'll pretend like they're your friend. Yeah, we love you, black man. This, that, and the third. Let that black woman put you in that court system. Those same white people that say they love you will be ready to kill you.
So true. It's
so Ricky,
true.
do you think it's the federal benefits still to this day as to why the Black nuclear family is just gone?
It's several factors. The benefits, the media influence, the entertainment industry that's drawn all around it. You know, it's an entertainment industry that glorifies living a real demonic lifestyle, a satanic lifestyle. You know, and I'm sitting here like, ugh. So
they also normalize the whole transgender, non-binary, being gay is cool thing as well. And I always feel like the LGBT community kind of goes hand in hand with the same agenda as the Black communities. You know, the Democrats' agenda with the Black community and minorities.
Oh yeah,
and it's such a pandering situation. And what they've done is, you know, when a white liberal comes up to me and automatically they're like, well, he's gay, so he must be a liberal. And then they're like, I'm so sorry that you're oppressed. I'm like, bitch, who the fuck? I'm like,
right.
Who is oppressed?
Now, Ricky, do you get that?
I have so many friends. I've never been denied anything in my life. So I'm like, who's the homophobe here?
Right. And I'm not gay or anything, but you being a good-looking gay guy, of course, you got doors open for you everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Careful, don't turn them on, Ricky.
No. I'm not gay or anything, but a man can tell another man looks good. So you got doors open for you everywhere. So I don't see where you, you know what I'm saying, is oppressed in America. But see, I think what the problem is, it's the same thing with this whole Black Lives Matter movement. When you over politicize somebody's sexuality, over politicize somebody's race, it becomes a problem. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the over politicization of these is what's making it a big problem. The over politicization of these Black civil rights laws, those laws were made to protect us. The civil rights laws were made to protect me as a black man, you as a gay man, right? But you got these bullies, and they take these laws and they start bullying people with them. And so they get on like social media websites and start spewing racism. And if you ever retaliate against them, then now they can ban you for being racist. They can dox you. They can try to get you fired from your job and all this other shit. So it kind of reminds me of Animal Farm. The pigs took on the habits of the humans after they, took over the farm. So, yeah.
Oh, my God. That's hilarious.
So other than go ahead, Ant.
No, I was just going to say, so I kind of want to go back to talking about how feminism affects the Black community in inner city neighborhoods. So do you think that maybe by people talking to young Black men at a young age in those communities now, it would help the future of those men down the line, or is it always going to be some type of disconnect?
Yes, it will. As a matter of fact, when I did that video on that bitch, that we wearing Wicked Witch, that's popular on YouTube, when I did that video on her and I saw these black women coming at me, I knew what was going. I mean, because Kevin Samuels, I don't know about Kevin Samuels' political stance, but he comes off as very conservative, and he's got the attention of a lot of black men, and there's a lot of black women that agree with him. There's another guy, I think, by the name of Kwame Brown. You know, he's popular on YouTube, but the women, they like him for some reason. But at the same time, he just says what's on his mind. But Kevin Samuels, they got a target out on him. Why? Because if Kevin Samuels reach those young black men, then they're going to start holding these women to a standard when they start dating. So if somebody's sitting there with 4 bastard ass kids and living on the system, and they think they're going to get a hold of this man's wealth, they're going to be like, no, you got another thing coming. But now they got this thing called the divest movement, where these whores think that they're going to hook up with a successful white man with their fucking I call their pathology. They're sitting here thinking, these weed wearing wicked witches think that they're going to live in suburbia with, you know, successful white men with their bastard kids, their fucked up habits, their lack of self-control. And I'm sitting here like, if we won't have you over here, why the fuck you think they want you?
Yeah.
Like, for real. So, I mean, we're dealing with so in the black race, we're dealing with a big split. So it's all split up, but they're not showing that split. They want to have everybody thinking that we're all in solidarity and that we live up under the banner of oppression. No, we don't. You know, it's like, if you know, the reason that I try to tell people, and I try to tell these young black men, don't sit there and accept that you're oppressed. Why? Because it does not breed a winner's attitude. If you believe in that you're oppressed, you're not going to go anywhere. And then when you fail, because you will fail, it's guaranteed. When you're trying to reach for success, you're going to fail somewhere along the way. Yes. And you're going to hit those stumbling blocks. And the first thing you're going to scream is, I'm oppressed. Yes. I give up.
So true. And you know, I've read, so I recently moved to South Florida from Illinois. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I did not live in the inner city or close to downtown, but close enough, about 40 minutes west. And I remember hearing a lot of people in the black community on the news, whenever they did let their voice heard, they would say, where's Black Lives Matter today?
Yeah.
Where is Black Lives Matter today? They did not support Black Lives Matter in those communities. So my thought is, what is Black Lives Matter good for? What is that organization
Re-election?
Re-election.
Yeah.
Election. I mean,
election.
You're right. They're gone now. Like, you don't know of Black Lives. You can't tell me that when Joe Biden,
black communities to begin with, they were never there for them in the first place.
No,
they were, but they put on the perception that they were, and to some people, perception's reality, right? And so when you have, you can't tell me that since Biden's taken office that anything's changed within the black community.
You know what trips me
out?
No
laws have been passed. No, nothing has been done. But Black Lives Matter is nowhere to be found.
A holiday and a statue.
Right. That already got defaced, or
well, did it get defaced, or because I mean they made him a white man?
They did,
and then they got painted black. I mean, it was proper representation, in my opinion. I mean, it's like, and that's the thing, because had that been done by a conservative and made a white statue out of George Floyd, we know damn well all hell would have broken loose. But because it was a liberal thing, and they made him white. And then when they get painted black, which is what he should have been, I mean, in all reality, if you're going to make a statue, at least make it representation.
Look, right. I have no problem with the statue, and here's why. I have no problem with any memoriam statue anywhere in the United States.
Sure, I don't either.
Because I believe that any statue that is up from our history shows why we are where we're at today. So if liberals, they kind of shot themselves in the foot, like they always do, because if liberals didn't make this big stink to tear down statues for the past 4 years, 5 years, however long, there would have been really no negativity towards the George Floyd statue coming out.
There would have been some, but not nearly as much.
This is why I do this.
Yeah. Who else can he trigger today?
Damn!
Hold my beer.
There goes our YouTube channel.
This is exactly why I do this, because here's the thing. A lot of people, and there's a lot of blacks that do agree with my political stance, but the only disconnect is the flag. And I'm like, but this is a part of our history. This is the last symbol of rebellion in our history. You see what I'm saying? So when
they not realize that blacks fought for the Confederacy?
They have no idea.
Like they legitimately don't have any idea.
I'm telling you, they don't want to know.
They don't want to know, and they will always have a. See, the thing is, I can't debate these people nowadays because a lot of them are raised by the weed wearing wicked witches, so they have the weed wearing wicked witch argumentative and combative nature. They don't want to be wrong. They can't admit to being wrong. So when you start trying to tell them about Reconstruction after the Civil War, which is where they really should be talking about instead of what happened on that plantation, look at what they were doing to you after the Civil War.
Right.
We're reliving Reconstruction right now. This is where racism.
I don't understand why. I guess for me, logically, I don't get it because, like, we know the famous LBJ quote about him getting the Negro vote for decades, which is true. I mean, that's how it's been for decades. What's it going to take to wake up the community as a whole?
There's no waking up the community as a whole because you can't even wake up the white community as a whole. You know, you're going to have good white people, and you're going to have your fucking racist and your Yosemite yuck mouths over there screaming all of this racial bullshit. The black community, you're going to have your decent black folks, and then you're going to have your Johnny Bastard seats and your weed wearing wicked witches. So we're not going to be able to wake up each community as a whole. Only thing that we got to do, and this is what I believe that is going to have to happen, we're going to have to put race aside and get with like-minded people. Race got to go because, I mean, it's not getting us anywhere. As long as we keep putting ourselves in these boxes of race, then it's not going to change. We're going to have to get patriots are going to have to start saying us this is, are you a patriot or are you not? If someone jumps up and says, well, I'm a black man, blah, 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 I represent the black community, then go over there and represent the black community. If someone steps up and says, I'm a white guy, go over there and represent the white community. The patriots, we need to be patriots. Gay, straight, black, white, Hispanic, we need to be patriots. Because if we don't do that, then we're going to continue to have this division among us. We got to have a code that we speak on. You see what I'm saying? Like the black community for years had a code. They always talk about things being on code. Okay. So right now we got to be on code as patriots. There are things that we got to say that's acceptable and what isn't acceptable, certain behaviors that we condone and that we don't condone. And the coolest thing is, and this is why I was glad to talk to see what you did, Conservative Texan, is when you had said, when you called Bryson out on this bullshit, not too many, like during the whole George Floyd thing and during the whole, especially Ahmaud Arbery, you didn't see too many white conservatives condemning the racism that was going on. And I think that's what happened when, I think that was one of the things that was a big splitting, that was a big wedge there, because like with Candace Owens and Officer Tatum, they just stirred the pot. Now, let me tell you why I think that Dennis Prager is a white supremacist that pays them. Well, Candace Owens already admitted that Dennis Prager pays her. And who pays Brandon Tatum? Candace Owens. Well, why would Dennis Prager pay them to do this? Dennis Prager plays like he's a Republican. He portrays himself as a conservative, but he gives a lot of misinformation. He gives good information, and then he peppers his bad information with truth.
Is he a neocon?
Yes, and the cool part about Dennis, well, not the cool part, the not so cool part about Dennis Prager, he is sponsored by the Wilkes brothers. The Wilkes brothers are in the big oil. Well, who owns 90% of the 85% of the Wilkes brothers? China. He had to get he had to get Trump out of the office.
We're men, Ant. Just so you know, we're not girls. You're misgendering us, Ant.
He had to. Fox News was working against Trump the whole time. I was saying this last summer, but
so was Fox, and that's what people don't understand. Is like liberals try to throw Fox in our faces, but if you look at what Fox spent, they spent $100 million against Trump.
Right. Well, and we saw it through the actual election day. We saw it after January 6th with Fox News. We still see it today. If you turn on more midday, Fox News is the same.
Yeah.
And I said this to Tex. I think really the only journalist right now that's really exposing everything, and I don't know how he's still on, is Tucker Carlson. He's literally ripping everybody to shreds every single night.
Well, this is why we get, and I know you get it, Ant, and I'm sure Ricky, you do too, that people come to like us on TikTok for some reason as their legitimate news source.
Yeah.
Well, I actually have a news network. I need to start tending to it more. But yeah, I mean, I have a website and everything where I just put it out there, what's really going on in the world.
Yeah.
People will come to me and say, well, damn, Ricky, how could you say this about Candace Owens? I like Candace Owens. There was a guy when I first started selling cars by the name of Greg Morris, and I liked him. He taught me the tricks of the trade, but he was a con artist. And eventually his con turned around on me, and it hurt me to realize that this man was doing nothing but playing me the whole time. But I got something out of it. I got to learn how to do my craft. That got me to the next level in life. So, you know, you got to give something to get something. But see, Fox News, they like to throw Candace Owens on there. They like to throw Brandon Tatum on there. And I'm like, well, if they saw, and if you ever look at it like this is why I say that they're agents of division. Their accounts are never touched. Look at some of that shit Candace Owens says. Look at what Brandon Tatum says. Those, if I said that shit, they would have flagged my account and I would have been gone. Some of the shit that they say, it's like, whoa, how do you get away with this? And these were the people, but Trump's account got canceled. They get promotions. The other guy that I think is a mix of it too, and I'm trying to help the lady here in South Carolina win against him, is a guy by the name of Graham Allen. Graham Allen is full of shit. I mean, people talk about, well, Graham Allen, you know, he's good for America. No, he's known for raging in his truck and talking shit, you know, about American pride. Okay, so now you're running for Congress. What are you going to do for the people in your district besides tell me about American flag, American pride, and fighting big tech? What are you doing?
Well, here, you can ask him that question. Here,
that's a great question, Ricky, because we're going to have him on.
We're close to having him on the podcast. Like we're waiting on dates, but we're in contact with him to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, Graham Allen is a real. I mean, have me on that day because I'm actually in his district. I'm ready to vote in his district. Have me on that day because there's so much I want to ask him. And why is he the right? You know, he's what is the word I'm looking for? He has subtle racism in his speech. You hear a lot of these people if you ever look at some of his posts on Facebook, it starts off as American proud, American proud, American proud, and then you start seeing the racism curve in there. And then by the time you get to the end of the comment section, it's full blown racism. Like, holy shit. Now,
Ricky, I do got a question on that. So here's maybe a little only pushback, and you can possibly educate on this, not just to me, but to our viewers. Where's the line between racism and tired of being blamed as a white person for every fucking thing?
Ooh, that's a slippery slope.
And I think that's where, in all honesty, I think that's where a lot of, like, especially myself, white people, we're just like, we're tired of like Ant said earlier, we're tired of everything is racist. I voted for Trump. Now voting for a person is now racist. Saying certain things. If I get on TikTok and I say you people, I guarantee I get a ton of black people going, oh, that's racist. Yeah. I'm not even talking about black people. I'm just talking about you people, Americans.
Right.
So that's where, like, I'm not defending Graham Allen by any means, but what I'm saying is, like, where's that line between like subtle racism and like just fed up as a white person of like trying to beat around the bush?
I'm gonna tell you why I said that Graham Allen was racist or something he had done. And I'm just gonna give one example out of the many.
Sure.
Okay. You and I, well, we all know as conservatives and being in the know that defunding the police means that that doesn't mean that we're not going to have police roaming the streets. It means that we're going to have federal law enforcement on the streets, and that all of our municipalities will lose their sovereignty. The states will lose their sovereignty.
Right.
That's what defund the police means.
Right.
Graham Allen, did this video of these black people fighting in the airport. And this video was old. It was something off of World Star Hip Hop that was years before COVID. And it was under a sign in the airport called Urban Decay, which was the name of the store. So you got these black people fighting, and Graham Allen's commentating, talking about if we defund the police, this is what's going to come to your door.
God, I get it loud and clear. I understand.
Yeah.
So so basically, what will actually, smolder that flame of the accusations of racism is more people need to speak out against when they see shit like this, instead of blaming black on black crime and single mother head of household. Trust and believe us black people are disgusted with that shit too. So if we're talking about something as racist, then you hear it legitimately and why. Don't throw back at us the statistics on crime. Don't throw back at us black on black crime. Don't throw back on, stick with that same subject. And that's what happens when you get a lot of these people that want to deny the facts because of their liking for that person. And that does nobody not a damn bit of good. There's a lot of people, and I brought the facts out about Candace Owens. I lost a lot of viewers because of this. But at the same time, I'm pointing out the facts here that she's giving false information. She's confirming biases, and the people she's working for, that's what they're there to do. We're not going to do people say that America is going to continue. No, we're not. We're at the breaking point now. If we don't pull together and have at least a majority of like-minded people, we lost our country.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't understand why we can't have I don't understand. Something hit me when you said that you lost viewers because you called out Candace Owens. That's your right to not like a specific person because of the bullshit that they say. Mm-hmm. So I can't understand why it's so, because it seems like conservatives are just as triggered now as liberals are.
Big time.
And it's like, you believe in that. I can't believe that's not a conservative. Well, listen, in your eyes, honey, what's considered conservative? Like, you know what I mean? So
you got to conserve.
If I believe that whoever wants the vaccine can get the vaccine, there's going to be some conservatives who be like, no, that's not right. We don't want it at all. Well, you don't want it, but some people want it. I don't believe that it should be mandated. Well, I lost followers because I believe that it's like, where's the line on anything?
True.
See, the thing is, I try to wake people up too, and I got a chance to red pill a lot of, and I feel great about this. When I was out there doing my work in the community, I got a chance to red pill a lot of the people that were talking about Trump is racist. I'm voting for Kamala Harris. This is going to be our first female black VP. And I started asking questions, how much do you care about your kids? How much do you care about your kids' future? And the single black women that had sons, it resonated well with them. My message resonated well. Okay, I understand, but you have sons, right? This is the danger that if you were living in the state of California, you're screaming about you're screaming about systemic oppression, but this woman is the pillar of systemic oppression upon our people. So do you think that that's right? No. I said, so do you think if that was a white person, let's say if that was a straight white man, not Kamala Harris, let's say if that was a white man, would you be condemning him?
Yes,
if Trump had that same background, would you condemn him? Well, yeah, I said, but Trump doesn't have that background. She does. What's the common sense answer now?
It's because of the color of her skin.
Right.
And that's the most frustrating thing is like, especially when even if you bring it white man to white man, as far as Joe Biden versus Trump, if Trump had said half of this shit, that black people can't use the internet to be able to get their COVID vaccine. I mean, can you imagine the cities that would have burned from Black Lives Matter? I mean, but Biden says it and it's like, oh, well, it's Joe Biden. Ha, ha, ha. And it's like.
Okay, so I'm going to say it. I don't care. I'm going to say it. Is Kamala a black woman? She's Indian and Bohemian, right? Bohemian or?
She's as black as you are.
I was gonna say I feel like I'm from Southern Italy and I'm blacker than she is. I'm being honest. I mean, if we really want a true intelligent black woman in office, shouldn't she be like an Afro black woman? Like, shouldn't she be like Afro-American, like a true black woman? Now,
I would vote for Condoleezza Rice all day long.
Yeah, Condoleezza Rice. If they start talking,
I've always admired that one.
Yeah, because see, here's the thing that I try to get across to people when I'm talking to them about Candace Owens. But they'd be like, yeah, Candace Owens should be the next president. And I'm like, what? Whoa. Repeat that again. But she's so intelligent. And I'm like, give me 3 things that make her intelligent. Just 3. Like, a lot of black people accuse me of being a coon. and selling them out, right? But if I wanted to be a coon, I could, because I don't sit back and just quote talking points like they do. I can actually break down facts. I got the power to manipulate. Okay, I've been in sales 8 years. I can manipulate. If I wanted to be a coon, I could sell them down the river, but I won't, because I still have to have my integrity about me at the end of the day. Yeah. Because when you spread that kind of message, and let's just say, for instance, you got white people that are tired of being picked on because of the color of their skin, and they can't say whatever. And let's just say you got a group of white people, and let's say it happens in a mass scale like what it's doing right now, that they have biases, but now they become racist because they lost their job. And now you got these black people laughing at them because they lost their jobs. They had biases, but now they're racist. Now there's 3 steps of this, and the third one that I'm going to name is dangerous. You have your biases, which everybody has them. You know what I'm saying? I have my biases. You know, everybody has those. You know, it's learned behavior. You have racist people that just don't want to fuck with other races. That's cool too. But the third one, the one that makes it dangerous, is radicalized racist. I could spit so much fucking, if I wanted to, I could twist all of this knowledge I have around. I could radicalize so many different white people, but what would that do for race relations in the future in America? After I radicalize them, they're going to hurt somebody that looks like me.
Yeah.
Right. So
it could even be me. So that's my message when I talk about Candace Owens and Officer Tatum. That rhetoric they spit, it radicalizes people. Right. Graham Allen radicalizes people. And that's how the Klan got started. That's how people get recruited into these skinhead organizations.
Yeah. So
when I look at what they're doing, and then on top of that, you got Joe Biden that's pushing this fucking, we got to have black people, this, that, and the third. You know, what about if somebody's just qualified for the job?
Well, he's trying to reach his black quota.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we got to get back to that in America in general, is that the most qualified for the job, period.
Right.
Not I mean, and that's where, like, in my opinion, and I've been saying this for years, with all the racism push that's been going on, it's creating racist.
It is. And if it goes any further, it's going to create radicalized racist.
Yes. And that's going to be dangerous for the country.
And here's what's sad to me. Here's what's sad to me. You cannot tell me that America is racist. Americans voted for a black president 2 terms, not 1, but 2, because they believed in that president. Whether he was a good president or not, they liked Obama. And I'll be honest with you, he was a cool dude. When you don't know much about politics and you're voting for somebody. Anyways, I digress. What I mean is, we don't live in a racist country because you voted for a black president 2 terms. Okay, that doesn't make racist America. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, and take it further. Take it further. Worldwide, Hong Kong, Haiti, Cuba. Even if you take the southern border, we're supposed to be racist, but we're being flooded with other minorities, other groups flooding to this country.
Listen,
singing our national anthem, waving
they
our
want some of that racism. They want to get over here and get some of that oppression.
Do you know how many countries are coming through Mexico to get into the United States?
Now that the border's open,
there's at least
over 100. Yeah. Over 100 different countries.
Yeah.
Why would anybody make a trek to go to a country that is the most racist, worst country? Well, the president is letting them in, yes, but
no. I said oppressive.
Oh, oppressive.
We're oppressive.
Well, immigration's been happening for a very long time in the United States. So.
Well,
you colonizer.
Right, colonizer.
Yeah, I'm a colonizer. Yeah.
But the crazy part when we talk about that, and nobody's actually outlining what's happening here. There's a target, and I don't mean to try to radicalize white people when I say this, but this does radicalize some white people when I make this point. The target is on the back of white people.
Nope.
The straight white Christian male, the target is on your back.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is because when Joe Biden said what he said to Al Sharpton and Messi Jackson, when he said what he said, like this country's doomed, and by the year 2040 we're gonna be minority white.
Al Sharpton.
Yeah, Al Sharpton and Messi Jackson. They're hearse chasers, you know what I'm saying? But they
so your next one up and coming has to be that Crump guy, right?
Who's that?
He's the one that did the Trayvon Martin and the George Floyd, their attorney.
Oh, that son of a bitch.
Crump, yeah, that's got to be your next few, because Al Sharpton and Jackson, they're going to die soon, so this has to be their future.
Well,
he's
I mean, it's money in that, you know. It's those are what I call hearse chasers. You know, you have ambulance chasers; those are your tort attorneys.
Yeah.
You have the hearse chasers; they're waiting for the next black person to get killed by the cops. You know, they're waiting for the next Ma'Khia Bryant. They're waiting for the next George Floyd. And the funny part is, and just to show you how much money is spent in this shit, if I got a license to practice law in South Carolina, and let's just say some shit happens in Michigan, now I got to go to that state and pass their bar exam to be able to practice there to stand on the behalf of whoever it is that I'm coming up there to defend.
Right.
So it's some money that goes into this shit, and it's and it does the black community not a bit of good, because, you know, like the whole thing with the Ma'Khia Bryant thing, right? Black Lives Matter had the goddamn audacity to show up and say this was a racial crime. If you ask me, now, I mean, when I did a broadcast on this, I actually broke down on camera. I had to shut my camera down because I was live when I was talking about this. They're not talking about how sad of a case this was, and it had nothing to do with that cop. That cop done his job. Mm-hmm. What about this girl who was in a condition in a foster home? She died in foster care. She died in foster care. Why wasn't anybody talking about this? The racist foster care system, the racist family court system, the racist system that separates black families. Where the fuck was Ma'Khia's father? But they had her mother, her irresponsible, weed-wearing wicked witch mother, on fucking television talking about, oh no, not my baby. Why wasn't you taking care of your baby? Why was your baby in this fucked up situation to begin with?
Yeah.
Because the United States, the foster system and adoption system in the United States, the government makes way too much fucking money off of it, and they're not ready to have that fucking conversation.
Well, and it's actually further than that. I mean, they make money off of the abortions. And so if they can make the adoption so incredibly expensive, then more abortions happen. So I mean,
yeah. Do you know how much it costs to adopt one child, though? You have to have 7 grand.
Huh?
And now it gets better than that. When you start talking about child support, the states make so much money off of this shit. They're banking on these young black men to make irresponsible decisions.
Yeah.
And I try to tell these young black men, and I'm like, listen, the worst thing you can do in life is bring a child in this world and be tethered to a weed-wearing wicked witch for 18 years. She will bankrupt you spiritually, financially, emotionally, because where you're sitting here caring about this child as your child, to her, that child is her paycheck.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, she's going to whore her little ass around, have more siblings for those kids. Niggas going to be coming in and out of her apartment with that little revolving door apartment, right? And just your child, and the state isn't going to consider you to be a reliable parent. They're going to always put the kid back to this bitch, this fucking weed-wearing wicked witch that you just fucking you wanted to bust a nut. You didn't think that 20 minutes that you were out there busting a nut was going to lead to 18 years of fucking heartache. You know what I'm saying? So
and this is why Ant turned gay.
That is, exactly, because I don't have to deal with those bitches.
Because you got to think, man, that 70% of fucking illegitimate single-headed households, that's telling you something. I mean, if me and my wife now was to get a divorce, and I hate to put it this way, if I caught the interest of a black woman that I thought I could make a life with, I would damn do a full fucking background check on her, to make sure. I'm gonna check her friends out. I'm gonna check her family out. Are these people that are nuclear family oriented? If not, see ya.
Yeah.
Same goes for a white woman, because you look, women in general, anybody, men or women in general, nowadays, if you're getting into another relationship, you just got to do background checks. I mean, we just got to be honest. Let's call a spade. You know what I mean? There's probably a dude that's trying to take my shit too. So I just make sure, get the license plate, give me your driver's license.
And ain't nobody trying to take your shit.
So Ricky, where can we find you? Where can everybody find you off of this show?
I got 2 accounts just in case one gets banned. I got Patriot Ricky Manor, and I just got the plain Ricky Manor. The Ricky Manor has the most subscribers, so you'll probably see a lot more action on there. And then you can find me on TikTok at Ricky Manor, at Ricky Manor the Patriot. And I also have a website as well. Let me pull this up here. That's called mrnewsnetwork.com. Let's see here. Give me one moment.
Tex, maybe you can scroll it on the bottom of the screen as we exit out, as we start to wrap it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now this site right here, I'm gonna share my screen with you guys.
What's your TikTok again?
My TikTok is Ricky Manor the Patriot, and this is my website right here.
Perfect.
www.mrnewsnetwork.com, and let's see here.
Perfect.
So yep.
Love that.
And right here, I can't play these videos on YouTube, but this is the stuff that I put in when I was in Washington D.C. I also have latest news stories. When you go to the latest news stories tab, I'm gonna start updating that every day. I've been trying to get people together for a Patriot barbecue.
Oh, I like that. I got your brother.
And, I talk about this right here. I had
Ricky. What's your web?
mrnewsnetwork.com.
Our news network.
Mm-hmm. mrnewsnetwork.com. So it's a lot of stuff that I put on here, and I'm gonna start putting news stories. As of tomorrow, I'm gonna start putting news stories on there every day in this section right here. Just write up my memoirs and whatnot. So on the days that I can't do videos, and then I have the media archive, some of my old TikToks that were there. We have a forums page. So basically, you can post your short videos here as well, kind of like you do on TikTok. So we have a forums page where we all communicate with each other. There's also in the main room, there's a chat room. So basically I'm gonna start broadcasting there before too long.
There we go. Tex has it scrolling at the bottom there, so everybody can take that down. Show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully before too long I can say fuck YouTube and have you guys come over here.
I was going to say, you let us know whenever you need guests or anybody to come on. I'd be more than happy to come on to your site as well. So
yeah, same here.
And the thing is, whenever I do podcast over here, it's no holds barred. You can say what you want to say, do what you want to do. There are no TOSs over there. The TOS is the only rules we have that my producer drawn out is clear cut. No terroristic talk, no terroristic threats toward elected officials and installed officials. So, because we don't want the feds knocking down our doors talking about what I'm trying to do here.
Right.
So, yeah, but other than that, though, I mean, that's going to be, the platform that I think I'm going to start broadcasting on for the main part, because the reason why is because social media has become so.
Yeah. We know.
We know.
We can't say what we want to say.
Well, y'all go visit mrnewsnetwork.com.
Yeah.
Follow him on both of his YouTubes and his TikToks. I'm telling you guys, I've been following this guy for a long time, and he's
obsessed.
He's the real deal. I mean,
he's obsessed.
Careful, Ricky. when Ann becomes obsessed,
look, I don't want to cross paths with his wife. I just want to be friends.
She's gonna be like, "Why are you so obsessed with me?"
Hey, a compliment's a compliment. So whatever.
Yeah. Be like, Tex, Aunt just slide into my DMs. What do I do now? What's the next step for me now? Do I say hi back? Yeah,
just send him a dick pic and call it a day.
I got that thirsty text. Shoot.
Since when?
It's about, I don't know, 10 minutes ago.
Is it because he's black?
Listen, I don't date white boys because they have no flavor. You know what I mean? You need somebody that's got a little bit of, yeah, I'm a somebody that's got some groove to them.
Damn. Wow.
All right, on that note, Ricky, listen, hey, Ricky, we appreciate you, man.
Hey, likewise.
Love you, bro.
Love you
And
too.
keep
Thanks
doing
for
what you're
having me
doing.
on.
Anything we can do to help spread your message and help reach the black community, you just let us know, man. We're here for you.
Hey, I'm about to give up on that. It's all about patriotism now, because if we sit here trying to reach the black community, we're going to keep banging our head in the wall, because hell,
True.
I can't reach that class of black America. So it's all about patriots now. Black, white, Hispanic, gay, straight, whatever. It's all about patriots.
Agreed.
Because if we're sitting here trying to reach certain communities, especially the black community, we're going to keep sitting there banging our head against the wall, because you're going to have stupidity rise across the board. It's multiracial.
That's
so
true.
we got to be able to recruit patriots from everywhere and make sure that, you know, we leave the garbage where it belongs, because, you know, if somebody's wanting to bleed off the system, or they want to practice heavy amounts of racism, then let them stay where they are, you know. And because as patriots, I think if we all could get together and be on the same page, that we could put Candace Owens, we could put Officer Tatum, we could put these popular weed wearing wicked witches out of business. You know, that's what I'm thinking, that and on top of that, we'd have a strong chance at taking our government back.
Yeah.
You know, so we got to be able to put ourselves in a position where we can have.
Kat says even though she had some technical difficulties, she appreciates you being on as well.
Yes, thank you, Kat, for having me as well. Thank you, Ant.
Yeah.
Thank you, Conservative Texan.
Absolutely, bro. And we'll be hollering at you for sure on old TikTok and outside there. So
TikTok, man.
we appreciate y'all, and make sure you guys go visit his website and go give him a support, because he's gonna need it.
Oh yeah, because